When I was a kid in college, I was a very inquisitive kid, and I asked all my professors one question: what's the most important thing in art? Three of my professors all came up with the same thing, which amazed me, and that is lighting. Lighting.
And look at this back here. Wow. Continue.
My name is Noel Glaser. Welcome all of you to this interview. And when you interview someone, I just noticed, if you notice they have paint on their hands and underneath their fingernails, that's an artist who loves to paint. I use acrylics. I used to use oils, but as I got older, the oils would affect me a little bit. So although I love the quality of oil, the acrylics are quite fine, and I'm really kind of mastered them over the years.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I do what we would call genre painting. I paint people. I've always loved people, and I have a master's of photography. So I always have a sketchbook in one pocket and my phone with the camera on the other, and you never know what you're going to capture. And I use quite a bit of that. And sometimes I even I do a collage before I start painting, just with my photographs and pictures, and I put it all together. The ideal composition is where everything is working, all the elements are there, but sometimes you have to enhance it, and that's what artists do. I was a high school art teacher for 40 years back in New Jersey, which I absolutely loved. And when I finally retired, we came out here to the sunshine and beautiful weather of Fallbrook. I was doing the same old stuff for like 6 months, and I said, something's got to grab me. And then right out here in the fields, I saw the migrant workers picking the avocados. And I said, that's it. And for 3 days, I got my sketchbook out. I sketched old school. I photographed, and I started doing a whole series of what their life was about, where they came from. A lot of artists have painted the farmers or the agriculture, the people in the field, but I wanted to dive down even deeper. So I talked myself into McDaniel's avocado factory. And at first they said, no, it's the busiest time of year, we can't do it. I said, look, I just want to take some photographs. I won't bother anybody, and it was fabulous. In fact, that painting I did, called Linda Vista, which is their product, won one of the big awards at the Avocado Art Festival. The Festival of the Avocados. But that was a collage piece, because they don't work in assembly lines like I did the painting, and I'll show it to you later. But they're individual pieces, but I put that all together, and once I had that painting was amazing. The hardest part was doing 78 Linda Vista boxes in the proper perspective with the same lettering over and over and over again. But you stick with the painting, and my motto for a painting, at least for me personally, is I'm not going to stop until it's the best I can do. So if it takes me months, it takes me months. And that's how.
So here we are. And this is where the magic happens. You can see all the supplies. And here we go. Oh, look at this beautiful.
I built this. All the colors are in order.
Look at this. All the supplies. We'll go see. There we go. Wonderful. Now tell me about that piece that won a ribbon.
This is called Somewhere Near Puno, and a friend of mine, fortunately, took the long 3-day hike to Machu Picchu, and he photographed. In fact, of all these paintings out here, this is the only one that I didn't do the photograph of.
Oh.
But I had to paint it as soon as I saw it, and I may have enhanced it a little bit, but it really wasn't necessary. And when I asked him, I said, well, where was this? He goes, somewhere near Puno. I said, that's the name, that's the title. And I was very fortunate when I first joined the FAA, the Fallbrook Art Association, I put this piece in. First piece, I won Best in Show. I said, hey, this is easy. And then I didn't win anything for a year, so it was just, the judge liked the work. But something about this, because I recently entered this in the San Diego County Fair, and it's in the first place.
Well,
I never expected it.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Thrilled. Now, this little piece over here is when I met my wife Nancy. It's called The Night the Earth Moved.
Oh, how
And we
sweet
were at a
is
summer
that?
camp, and she was on the girl's side, I was on the boys' side, and it was one of those magical moments. So.
Well, it's beautiful, and you just celebrated your 40th anniversary, didn't you?
44.
Or 44, excuse me.
44.
Wow, 44 years.
No
Congratulations.
spring chickens. But as I told you before, these are just some really interesting pieces. This was taken right before COVID. This is called Roses for Sale, and they had the car show down at the Pala Golf Course, all the classic cars, and they had the vendors on the side. And the blue dude is munching popcorn, and he's waiting for us to buy his roses. And this is what I said before about the composition.
Yeah.
This is all together. And I love this piece because I was down at an art show down by the ocean, and it was a drizzly day, and the little boy was under a tarp. And I caught this, and I call that moment of bliss, but I tried to make the tarp look like the waves of the ocean.
Aww.
So that's what the artist does, how he enhances.
And what about our pizza people here? This is
everybody says pizza,
shop.
but that's the Paella Man of Rancho Santa Fe. And that's the Paella Man. They have a little farmer's market in Rancho Santa Fe, and he's got this huge,
Oh,
piece.
I love paella.
And there he is,
Wow, so it's not pizza, it's the paella man.
Right.
Oh, and look at the tree with the, that's really interesting.
It's just, I try different styles here and there, as you can see. But a lot of these were taken from my property. This is called End of Day, and this was by Maddox Ranch. He's at the end of the day, he's bringing back.
He's bringing back his
bounty.
avocados.
This was for the Avocado Festival. This was Genie and the Avocado Mermaid.
Oh,
I kind of like that piece. This is the first painting I did when I moved out here.
Okay.
And there's so much going on here. It's called Fallbrook. And if you notice up over here, that's the divide between Mexico and the United States. And I said, what is their story? So they all came up from Mexico, Guatemala, and they're working in the fields. Some of them are delighted, some of them are happy, some are not. Nancy said sometimes they even use pesticides, so they get sick. So I made the guy with the biggest burden holding it. The Padre is kind of old before his time, but the woman is saying, "It's okay, Padre. We're doing a good job." And and even the cut avocado. My gardener kept looking at this. In fact, I put him. His name is Daniel.
Aww.
He's the fella in red, and he kept pointing at the helicopter.
Oh, I see him.
I said, Daniel, I'm sure you're legal, but you may know people who are not. And he goes, well, they send us back. And I said, I understand. But it was, and every time he'd come, he'd look at my painting.
Oh, so that's really
these are
sweet.
Just a few pieces, and I'm working on this piece here. This is called, we were up in San Francisco when I snapped that shot.
Oh,
that is
that's a great
Friendship
shot.
on Bus Line 22. Fortunately, this was just
a random shot.
Yeah, I told them I'm an artist. Could I take your picture? Sure.
And they said, sure. Oh, that's
she was
nice.
a little shy, but this one just lady.
She was beaming.
Beamed,
yeah, no, and the colors are gorgeous. It's going to be a beautiful. I can't wait to see it. That's nice.
Yeah. Always carry a sketchbook.
Okay.
Don't worry about how well you draw. You get better. But in fact, in the beginning, try what we call contour drawing, and that is keep that pencil down, don't lift the pencil, and just keep drawing. Draw the figures, go into a Starbucks, draw the people drinking coffee, go to the park, do the dog park, whatever. Just keep drawing, always, and you will find your style. And what type of art you do, well, that you're going to find on your own. Experiment, try everything. If you're young, drawing, colored pencil, watercolor, pastel, acrylics, oil, whatever. Just keep working at it, and you'll find what you like best. And as far as styles go, go back to the masters. Look at the art history and work it right through. There's tons of art books. If you go to Friends of Fallbrook for a couple of bucks, you get these great art books. I always buy art books wherever I go. So this is called Fallbrook, Head of the Indian, because it's on Sleeping Indian Road on the west part of our town. And it really shows the wild beauty of Fallbrook. And it's one of the few just landscapes that I've done, because I'm a people painter, but I saw this, and in that moment I said, this is great. And I just wake up to this every single morning, and it just is a beautiful way to start.
This is called?
Tumplekin Pie is the name of this painting, and it's a family portrait. And my aunt and my mother, we would exchange Thanksgiving every single year. And one year they came to the house and our stove broke down with the turkey inside. So in the 50s, the only place to have a dinner was a Chinese restaurant. So we all went to the Ding Ho Palace. And the maitre d', the head chef, he said, we have a special dessert called tumplekin pie. So the whole day throughout the meal, we just couldn't wait to see what is tumplekin pie. It was pumpkin pie. But before I did this painting, I went and I looked at all the different pictures from the 1920s and 30s and 40s of Chinatowns, and I love the little old woodwork. This is my mother's old wallpaper and drapes. Oh. I use that. That's my mom. It's my brother, my cousins, my cousin. That's little me. And
show us
that
little
was
you.
my uncle. This is interesting.
What's little you?
That's little me, little Noel right here.
Little Noel. Oh, there he is. That's
but
sweet.
my uncle.
Is that like your first self-portrait as a child?
I guess so.
Oh, yeah. Wow. And then your uncle?
But what I did here was interesting. My uncle was a saint. He was a beautiful man. Aww. And coming out here to California from New Jersey, I saw all these great saintly Mexican pictures. So I put the cape on. Aww. And I kind of used that a little. This is called Descanso Morning. Love this painting. Love the little redheads. I'm from a redheaded family. And my dear friend, his mom passed at 100 years old, and they had a memorial at Descanso Gardens up there, Pasadena. And I stepped outside and I saw these two children just enchanted by the koi, and I painted them, and I just love this little painting, and I have sold more giclées. Whoever has redheaded children has bought the giclée from me. But I gotta say this, I don't do this for the money. I really don't care. I'm doing fine. I love to paint, and Descanso Morning just thrilled me. It was great to do. So I was in Palm Springs at a tacky, trashy tiki bar at the hotel called Le Rendezvous. This is the Reef restaurant. And the atmosphere was just great. And I'm looking around to take pictures, and these two guys are in the corner, and I go, oh my God, they're great. But I was afraid to take their picture, and they looked kind of dangerous. And when I used to teach, I always would ask my student for interpretation. And so I asked, what do you think they're talking about? And they're probably saying, hey, remember that time we buried that guy in the desert or something? Or if that guy gets up to take my picture, they're going to beat the crap out of him. So I literally took the picture from my hip.
Oh my gosh,
and then
you did not.
I took the picture from my hip, and then when they left, I took a picture of the empty booth because they helped me for the detail and all. And I love this painting. This has won awards, but it's called Palm Springs Le Rendezvous. And they're real interesting guys.
Oh, I could hear the conversation already. Oh wow, that's great. Go.
There's a great story about my mother. This is her piece, Lady at the Well. And in 1934, Cooper Union University in New York, Walt Disney came to all the illustration majors and said, I'm doing my first color cartoon. I don't even know what they called them back then. But she handed in what exactly was Dopey. And he said, bring me the artist Lee, because she used to sign her name Lee. Her name was Rose Lee. And when she went for the interview, he said, oh, you're a woman, I can't hire you. I don't have much money, and we bought an old World War I Army barracks in Hollywood. But I'd like to buy this from you. This is during the Depression. And she said, I think I got $100. It was more money than I ever had in my life. It was great. I said, yeah, but he couldn't hire you, Mom. That's not fair. She goes, in 1934, things are a little different. Anyway, it was very much like Dopey, and when she was very old, she was in a nursing home. And she was known as the Disney Lady, because all the kids who would come visit, she would still draw all these great pictures of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Aww.
So in my mind, my mother created Dopey.
Oh, that's awesome. Let me just get one more shot of that. That's beautiful.
I work in acrylics. Some people are loosey-goosey, free, right to the paint to the canvas. I sketch everything out. I do practice drawings. Then I lay it out on the canvas, of course, and then I work. And I'm very detailed. I'm a master of perspective. I taught that for 40 years. My kids still Facebook me. My students over 40 years.
That's okay. They're
They
your
all
kids.
found me over the years. They still tell me how they love the perspective lesson because it's their first shot at reality. And but I always, you'll find that, and there's all different types of perspective. It's not just right to the line. That's linear perspective. There's ways of making things duller as it gets further away. And so I like space in the painting. And I'm tight. Like I said, I work a long time on a painting. Occasionally I'll play around with it. That piece is a little looser, that piece a little bit looser. But I'm always up to see new things and try new things and different experiments. Now I'm washing out my paintings a little bit more. And I'll go full circle and I'll try new things all the time.
Oh.
But it's fun. And I gotta say this.
Okay.
COVID is horrible. Nobody likes COVID.
Right.
But those 2.5, 3 years, this lockdown basically, I painted. I had my art. I had something to do every single day. And I kept hitting new levels. I really have. I know I'm getting better at my age. Go figure.
So it gave you an opportunity to almost practice and get better.
Discipline. I was in the studio. I mean, it was beautiful. I'm retired.
Yeah.
I would go to theaters, museums, on trips, you know, and I'd get back to the painting. But I wasn't doing that. I said, let me paint. It filled up my day.
That's wonderful. So it was a real solace for you.
Yes, absolutely.
That's great. Well, thank you so much from Robin and everythingfallbrook.org. This has been a great interview. I look forward to getting you the copy.